All right, folks, Rockets and Warriors, what happened? Oh man, we got a we got a series on our hands, and this one could get a little bit of a become a hairy situation for the Warriors as they lost one of their best players and probably their most impactful playoff risers on their rosters, and Jimmy Butler. All right, let's talk about the game, and then we'll talk about the injury to Jimmy. All right, so the game played out very differently than game one. The Rockets came out very focused. They came out with high energy. Their defensive intensity was excellent. And they're also making their shots. So in the first quarter, the Rockets opened up with a 10-point lead. And then by halftime, it kind of expanded a bit, and they were up by 14. The most important thing about the first half, though, is the fact that Jimmy Butler was injured on a play in which Draymond Green, the dumbass, pushed his own teammate, or no, he pushed Amen Thompson into his teammate Jimmy Butler, causing him to kind of lose his body control from like the legs from the push, as Amen Thompson kind of flew into him right here on the screen. And then he ended up falling on his tailbone or hip or something. I don't know. Whatever they declared the injury, he never returned. And he was ruled out pretty quick, actually. So he worked his way back to the locker room. I'm pretty positive that the injury was so painful and unbearable that he couldn't play, because Jimmy's a tough dude. But anyways, that happened, and you could just tell like this was going to be an uphill battle for the Warriors, just the way the Rockets were playing. So unfortunately, his dumbass is part of the reason why I think the Warriors lost this game. The second half really didn't change much. In fact, the offense was even harder to come by. The Rockets were excellent tonight. They shot better than the Warriors overall. They almost kind of basically matched them for threes. They shot better from the free throw line. They out-rebounded the Warriors by 14, plus 4 on the offensive glass. I also think the fact that they took better care of the ball, you could see they made their adjustments, and Ime Udoka put together a game plan that was going to help them win this game. Individual efforts from the Warriors. It was Steph with 20. It was Moody with 12. And Quentin Post with 12. Kuminga ended up scoring 11 points, I think mostly at the end of the game. But the Warriors just didn't have it tonight. I mean, Podziemski had 0 points in 14 minutes of action. Not sure why he only played 14. He typically logs more time. But the Jimmy Butler injury was the make or break moment for this game. You just knew that the Warriors weren't going to be able to keep up the way the Rockets were playing. Even if Jimmy was there for the whole game, you knew this game was going to be a tight one going down the line. So without him there wasn't much that they were going to be able to do. For the Rockets, the difference maker tonight was Jalen Green, 38 points, 13 of 25 shooting, 8 of 18 from 3, 4 of 5 free throws, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. He had 3 steals. He was the player of the game. He was the difference maker. He was the one that was absent in game one, and you could see the outcome of this game, how different it was. Tari Eason had 14 points off the bench, some decent output from the starters. Amen Thompson, 11 points, seemingly having some trouble in the first half with foul trouble. But things worked out for them. Dylan Brooks, 6 of 12 from the field, 16 points. And then Alfred Sengun, he was I think he's the heart and soul of this team from, a stability standpoint. Just totally reliable when it comes to getting points when they needed them. And just timely with those efforts. 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. He was excellent. Fred VanVleet still hasn't really made an impact on the series, but the other guys have really stepped up, namely Jalen Green in this game. Amen Thompson, doing a little bit of everything. Anyways, the outlook of this series is contingent upon what happens with Jimmy Butler. It's that simple. If Jimmy Butler is available for the next game in Golden State, and he's not limited and he's healthy and he can be who he is, then the Warriors have a chance to win this series. They're still in it. If he is limited or ends up missing games, this series is probably not one that the Warriors can win. I don't think so. They brought him in for this scenario. They brought him in for this reason. He's here for the playoff run. And no disrespect to Steph. We know Draymond's limitations. He basically is a good defender, and that's really it. He helps distribute the ball offensively, but there's just so much he can't do. He's not a reliable jump shooter. He doesn't have good post moves. I can't go to him when I need points. You know, his production offensively is secondary, ancillary, even tertiary. It's just not going to get the job done. And when you don't have the supporting cast scoring, because, you know, that's what Jimmy does. Jimmy has gravity. He's a reliable scorer. He can get points in the paint. He can get points in the post. He's a decent shooter. He's got a decent mid-range. You know, I just don't like their chances the rest of the way without him. I don't think that they can compete with the Rockets team that seemingly was able to run up and down the floor once Jimmy was out. They were fearless in getting to the rim. High screen and rolls, the switching. Ime Udoka had a plan, and he executed it. And I don't think there's enough that Steph can do individually, you know, especially if the Rockets are going to be sending double teams and forcing the ball out of his hands. I like the Rockets to win this series. If Jimmy misses one or more games, I'm going to lean towards the Rockets. Now, if he doesn't miss any games and he's mostly healthy and he's playing at almost full speed and without limitations, I like the Warriors to still be in this. You know, if the Warriors, like I said, if Jimmy's healthy and they win the next 2 games in Golden State, I don't like the Rockets' chances, but this is huge. This is a pivotal moment in the series. If Jimmy plays game 3, if he doesn't, and he, you know, game 4 becomes the make or break moment for them. You know, it's going to be tough sledding. And I get it. The Houston Rockets don't have experience and all that. Whatever you want to say, that's fine. But this series will be dictated and controlled by the availability and effective play of Jimmy Butler. It's that simple. Anyways, tell me what you guys thought of the game. Tell me what you think about the Jimmy situation, how this series could unfold if Jimmy misses any time. Let me know. Drop me some comments. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out some more of our videos. We'll see you guys on the next one.